Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day to day lives. Let's start with the video. So, my birthday is coming in about 2 weeks, and yesterday I went out to have lunch with my mom. It was our usual lunch date where we caught up on each other's life and the familial gossip. We were having just a normal date when my mom suddenly brought up my birthday. She asked if I have an open schedule on my birthday and whether or not I'm taking the day off from work. I told her there is no way that I can take the day off, but because it's on a Saturday, I'm planning to celebrate it all night and maybe waste my Sunday on it too. She quietly nibbled at her croissant while thinking about something. When I got suspicious about her reaction, I asked her why she was asking me about my plans when she knows full well I won't see her at all that day because I'll end up celebrating with my husband. She said it was nothing and not to mind her, but I knew better than anyone else how she acts, and it wasn't nothing. So I pushed her into spilling the beans, and she finally caved. She told me that my husband was going to throw me a surprise party on my birthday. She said that he had called her, asking if she and Dad were available on my birthday and the day after that. Apparently, he was planning a trip to Hawaii on my birthday. She said that he was talking about inviting both my parents and his and was booking a resort for all of us to stay in. There was also going to be a night party that he booked the tickets to in advance and that we are to fly back on Monday morning. When I scoffed at her and asked what he was going to do about my work, when I'm the one who's not informed prior to the trip, it's not like he could call in sick for me or turn in a leave application saying, please let my wife take a few days off because I want to fly her to Hawaii. But my mom didn't find my joke funny and said that now that I know I really should take a day off of work. She said I wouldn't die if I took a leave and I should enjoy my life while I still can. But what she didn't know was that I already had a grand plan of my own. It's true that I haven't been taking any leave from my work for the past few months, but it wasn't because I'm a workaholic or that I don't like enjoying my life. I actually wanted to stay on top of my work all this time and have a stellar record so that when I finally asked for a long leave, my employer wouldn't say no to me. Although that was just a hope, it might work. And the reason was that I'm actually thinking about starting my own family. I've had this conversation before with my husband, and we talked about how we both want to have at least two kids at an age gap of 3 years. But in the last few months, I've been worrying a lot about it because I'm already in my early 30s and I don't have a lot of time left to get pregnant. But my husband is taking things too slow. He doesn't understand the time crunch, and that's why I had to take matters into my own hands. I was actually planning something incredible for my upcoming birthday in that sense. My plan was to go all out and create the ultimate romantic date that I could at home. Since it'll be my birthday, my husband wouldn't refuse anything, and that's when I was planning to ask him about that. But if he was planning a grand thing, that includes taking a 3 hour flight and spending it with both of our parents. My plans are never going to see the light of day, so I had to somehow get him to drop his idea of a grand celebration. That's why when my mom told me that he was planning all those things, I asked her to make him stop. I told her that I already had some plans of my own and I really wouldn't like to drop them. I told her we could all take a trip any year, but what I'm planning can't be done on any other day. I told her to do whatever she had to do to dissuade him from bringing his plans to fruition. But my mom just got angry at me. She smacked me lightly on the head and said that as a wife, I should appreciate that my husband is going to such lengths to make me happy. She said that not everyone can afford to do what he's doing just for a birthday, and instead of trying to get him to give up on it all, I should actually try my best to act surprised and enjoy it. She said that I'm really lucky to have found a husband like him who cares so much about me at my age, and if I kept acting like a fool, I'll end up alienating him from me. All this while I couldn't bring myself to tell her what exactly my plan was, even when she said that whatever I was planning couldn't be more important than what my husband was planning. I low key wondered if she just wanted an excuse to go on a vacation to Hawaii. After all the things she said, I still didn't give up, though, and begged her to get him to stop and promised her that I'll take her to Hawaii on her birthday in exchange for this favor. She finally did agree with me, but the look she gave me made me feel really guilty about it all. AITA here for being a brat and not letting my husband have the joy of planning my surprise party? I know he'll be very disappointed, but I do think what I want is important too. Should I have directly talked to him instead of planning all this? My birthday is over, and I've never been this disappointed in my life. My mom wasn't able to convince my husband to drop his plans, and I ultimately had to act surprised when he came to me on Saturday morning with a huge smile on his face and told me to pack up because we're going to Hawaii. His excitement and the face he made while breaking the news to me just melted my heart, and I couldn't bring myself to say anything other than thanks. I so desperately wanted it to just be us, but I ended up having our whole family together on my birthday. But no matter how hard I tried, the disappointment was still showing on my face. When we were at the airport, I went ahead to the baggage counter to drop off my stuff and went straight to the security check without waiting for my husband. He came rushing after me and asked me if I'm okay. And I tried to give him a convincing smile, but it was like a grimace. He noticed that I wasn't all too keen about his surprise and was worrying the whole time. Although I had to admit that I had some fun at the resort and the booze helped a lot. Still, my husband had caught on to me that I was just pretending to have fun, and that spoiled it for him too. My mom even took me aside to tell me to get myself together and just enjoy the moment. But how could I when I've already been to Hawaii so many times? I did try to find some alone time with my husband, but we were all so tired by the end that we all just passed out, and when we woke up, it was already time to catch our flights back. After we returned, my husband said that he really wanted to make it a great experience for me, but maybe he missed the mark this time. I tried cheering him up, but nothing worked. Now I'm mad at myself for ruining his surprise and making him sad. It's been a few weeks since my birthday. The things between my husband and I just kept getting worse. My mood is really dark all the time, and even my husband had stopped trying to lighten up the mood. At first, he was just sad that I didn't like his surprise, but now he's just mad that I didn't appreciate all his hard work. I can't really blame him for that when I'm mad at myself too. It shouldn't be so difficult for me to tell him straight what was weighing on my mind, but for some reason I keep hesitating. I don't know why, but all these mixed emotions are really making me anxious. And I know that if things continue to be the way they have been, one of us is going to end up blowing. I did take a few days to sort through everything I was feeling and to just relax my mind so I could be calm and collected and make a decision about whether to let things work out on their own or take them into my own hands. I also took a few meditation sessions so I could focus and let go of all the stress, whether it was from work or my personal life. After careful consideration, I decided that nothing is going to come off of pretending that everything is okay. And if I want things to improve, I have to first apologize to my husband and then come clean to him. I'll update here once I talk to him. Finally, things are all better and I could take a deep breath and just relax. Yesterday, after I came home from work, I told my husband that we needed to talk about how things are between us. He was working on something, and when he saw how serious I was, he came and sat down with me. The first thing I did was apologize to him for how I behaved on the trip he planned with so much love. I genuinely regretted my mood the whole time and completely understood why he'll be mad about it. Then I told him why I behaved that way and what exactly was my plan for my birthday. Hearing me talk about it, he asked me why I felt the need to go to such lengths when I could have just talked to him about it. He said it's our private life, and we've been so good at discussing these things in the past, and instead of feeling embarrassed about it, I should have been straight with him. Then we had a long chat about how I hurt him and where we stand with having a kid. After clearing up everything between us, I was finally able to relax, and I'm so glad that my husband is so understanding. I don't know what I did to deserve a man like him, but I'm really lucky. NAH. I don't think anyone is an a hole. I just think that you need to communicate with your husband about what you want and see what he wants. And I do think that what you're planning isn't the best way to go about it. NTA, you're not an a hole, but you should let him surprise you. You can always shift your plans to another night because honestly, you should let your husband spoil you as much as he wants. Some background info. My mother, 37, had me, 20, male, at 17. She was never a mother to me, and I was raised by my grandparents and later my uncle, 34. When I was 8, my grandma got sick, and my uncle, who was 22 at that time, started taking me in, and I moved in with him full time at 12. I only saw my mother for family events, and she was always criticizing me, how I looked, my hobbies, what I liked. By 14, I refused to talk and or see her. When I was 18, my uncle proposed to legally adopt me. I decided to go see my mother one last time to inform her and have some closure. During this talk, she told me my father's name. I talked to my family about him, and long story short, basically everyone knows him. His family lived in the same town as my great grandparents, and my family used to go there every holiday. I decided to try to meet him with my uncle. He, 36, moved back a few years back to be close to his family, and he took everything pretty well. I made sure to inform him that I already had a dad. He told me he had no children and was interested in knowing me. He presented me to his parents, and they even found some pictures of me with him from before we went to college. For the last 2 years, we had a pretty great relationship. He also got along well with my uncle. At college, I call him once a week and I see him pretty often. The issue is his girlfriend, Anna. They don't live together and have been a couple for over 3 years. She made it clear that I had no place here. After a few encounters with her, she reminded me so much of my mom, her attitude, her remarks, and critics, that I refused to go and see him for a while. I think he realized because he told me that she didn't need to be there every time. I only see her when I go to eat with him at his parents'. She still manages to make it clear that I don't belong in this family. When I ask questions, she tells me stuff like, if you were really a part of the family, you should know, always pointing physical differences. So it was a surprise when she called me last week. I thought it was an emergency, so I answered. She told me that she wanted to move in with my dad, but he refused because he knows we don't get along, and he wanted his house to be a safe place for me, and he was afraid I would come by less if she was here all the time. It's the truth. She then told me I should put my grudges aside and try to be nicer to her for my father's sake. I told her no. I had years of therapy to be able to remove toxic people from my life, and being with her is like being with my mom. I do not want to put myself in this kind of situation anymore. I talked to my uncle and he agrees. For him, my mental health should always be my top priority. But some other people think that I should at least make an effort for my father's happiness and that it would be selfish to not try. NTA, please tell your father she called you and what she said. She was way out of line to contact you, especially since he had set a clear boundary. Your father decided your feeling safe at his home was more important than moving in with her. So everyone who says you should put his happiness first needs to be quiet. He made his decision. Absolutely, NTA. I'm so sorry all that happened to you. I'm also so glad you were blessed with such an amazing, amazing uncle, Dad. Where was your bio dad all those years? If you were in pictures with him, he knew about you. It's great he wants to protect you and keep you safe. If she were to move in, you'd need to meet him somewhere else to visit and catch up. I'm sorry she's been so unkind to you. That's not okay at all. I'm proud of you for standing up for yourself. I, 29 female, am overweight. It's something I'm working on as I'm very much not comfortable in my body, but again, It's a work in progress. My friend, 30 female, is getting married in a couple of months in a pretty informal wedding, but still asked me and a few other friends to be bridesmaids. I agreed, of course. A week ago, my friend sent pictures of the dresses she was thinking about. My friends voted on this long sleeve, skin tight dress. I would not be comfortable in this dress as it's too tight, both in terms of physical comfort and mental comfort. I voiced my opinion and why, and my friends all said they liked the dress most, and the bride to be said that since all of my friends agreed on this, we had to pick it. I asked if I could wear a similar dress of my own that's more comfortable. It's in a similar shade of green that my friend chose for this dress, so I could still be there but also comfortable. My friend told me that the day is not about me and that I will just have to put up with being uncomfortable for an evening. I told her it would be genuinely embarrassing for me to wear the dress and that since I respect her day, I'm just going to withdraw from being a bridesmaid so my discomfort doesn't overshadow her. I said that the dresses were very pretty and I understand why they chose them, but I'm just not willing to wear it. I then said that there's no hard feelings. I'm not mad. I understand, but they have to understand why I'm uncomfortable. The bride to be messaged me the next day saying that I embarrassed her in the group chat and that she doesn't understand why I'm so opposed to it. I explained once again that the dress was too tight and would be unflattering and uncomfortable for me. She then got mad and said now either her fiance will have to drop a groomsman or she has to find another bridesmaid. I apologized for causing her strife and then said again I have a dress in a similar color that is much more comfortable for me to wear, and she turned me down again. I've been shunned by all of the bridal parties since. AITA? NTA. You don't have to be paraded around in front of people in something that you're uncomfortable wearing, and you never have to be a bridesmaid. If their aesthetic is more important than their wedding party's feelings, then that's the choice they made. NTA, when you sign up to be a bridesmaid, you realize there are going to be costs and you are going to wear an outfit chosen by another person. But that doesn't mean you give up all your autonomy. You are uncomfortable with this dress and you voice that. And if the bride wants the dress at the expense of you in the wedding, she can make that choice. You are giving her plenty of notice and gave alternatives to the dress she picked out. If it was just an ugly color or pattern, fine, suck it up and wear it. But a bride doesn't get full bodily control over her wedding party. You were honest and polite, gave alternatives, and then pulled out of the wedding. That's the right thing to do when something isn't working for you. It can be the expense, the style, whatever. And you were as kind as you could be. And you aren't alone. There are people who don't wear certain dresses because of modesty, and some because of size. I had a friend who wanted a silk spaghetti strap backless dress. Me and two other girls with larger breasts explained that physics does not allow this dress to be on our bodies and out in public without being arrested. I think if I was the only bigger girl, the bride may have stuck with the dress, but luckily we were a busty gang and a more reasonable dress was chosen. NTA, so let me get this straight. When originally shown the dress, you told your concerns to the bride directly and offered reasonable solutions, as you're not willing to wear the item. She, in short, told you to suck it up because it's her day. Then she was surprised when you voiced the exact same concerns publicly. So, in short, you're supposedly the AH because after telling her that you are not willing to spend an entire day murdering your own self esteem, you tactfully withdrew. I don't get the mindset here. I'd just be thrilled to share the day with close friends and family. Like, who is going to remember the theme of your wedding? I can't even tell what color the last wedding I went to was. Yes, it was this year I went to said wedding. Pretty lame way to show someone how much of a narcissist you are, IMO. Odd hill to die on for a one-day event that statistically will likely end in divorce.